Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. We're just going to wait just couple more minutes, not too long, because we want to kind of talk about what we're going to talk about. It just occurred to me that these are called trays. I'm Trey. I'm Trelane. Notice the spelling of my name, okay? T-R-A. There's not a Y in there. L-A-Y-N-E, but a lot of people call me Trey, particularly my Southern family. They started calling me Trey. Anybody that has Southern families knows that they always give you a nickname. So mine was Trey as a child, going down there to visit my grandmother, my family down there, and has just kind of stayed with me all of these years. So there's some people that still call me Trey from my church and different ones. So anyway, good afternoon, everyone. It is noon on May 21st. Can you believe that we're half a year in 2021? Thank God life is kind of going back to normal here this month. So are you glad about that? That's what I want to know. Are you glad that you're going to be able to get out and do the things that maybe you couldn't do at first, and now you're going to be able to go and do them now? And visit with your family, but still be safe. Still be safe, okay? Where it says to wear a mask, still wear a mask, okay, everybody? Hi, Tiana. Tiana is such a huge supporter of JMC. I really appreciate that. So yeah, let me know that you're here. When you come on, say hello to us so we can say hello back, because I am that person that if I see that your name has been posted, I'm going to say hello. So last week I talked about community, and I'm going to use the same word. We have buzzwords around here at JMC, and one of the buzzwords, which is actually in our vision, is that we believe that every child deserves an authentic, reliable, and supportive community village. Hey, Tony. Tony is the one that works for us at JMC. She's been with me for a long time now. I mean, long time considering JMC only been around for 4 years. So I'm going to talk to you about village today. And you may have heard the African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. And if any parents are out there, any of you who were raised in different communities, because our village is really just a community, however that community is. So you may have been raised in a community that everybody came to your house, so you would go to the neighbor's house and play, or you would just have all these neighborhood friends that you would play hide and seek. Now, in my day, we played hide and seek, we played tag, we did hopscotch, we did red light, green light, all that stuff that gets you outside. That's what we did. We didn't stay inside the house. Of course, we didn't have a lot of video games, but when my village, my god brother, his family was a part of my village. When he got Atari, when Jay Thomas got Atari as a child, I would look forward to going over there, and our families would either have dessert or something, like whatever they did, or play games, whatever. And he had Atari, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Then he got Donkey Kong. He had all the cool stuff. Like my parents didn't have this. Why did my mom and dad let us have that stuff? I'm not understanding. It's so interesting because now my brother, he works for Nintendo, has been working there for over almost 30 years, a very long time, right out of high school. But my village was very instrumental in raising me. And think about people that you grew up with, even the bullies, even the ones you didn't like, even the ones when your mom and dad were friends with the parents, but you weren't too cool on on their children, but your parents made you kind of hang out with them because they liked the parents so much. That's part of a village. And the beautiful thing about village is that you have a group of people who come together, whether it's through your sports team, your school, your church, your neighborhood, your relatives. And these are not always blood relatives. I'm talking about people who help make up a part of your village community. Now, I do recognize and I'm sensitive to those who may not have had that experience. But if you look back, you probably had somebody or a group of people that you connected with because you had shared values, you had some commonalities, your personalities mixed very well, and they just become a part of your village. A lot of times when people go to college, they develop these long life friendships in college. I know my sister, she has some friends that they've been friends since she graduated, 15, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and they still are very good friends today, people she went to college with. And there's people that I was raised up in the church that we're still friends now because of the village. They were part of my village. So not only does a village provide safety and stability, because if you have wise parents or a wise guardian, you're going to be around safe people. Hopefully they're safe. But they have common shared values, and they also allow you to experience different things. For example, I just mentioned about my godbrother who had Atari. So I would go over and play Atari or Donkey Kong or Mario Brothers, I think came out late years ago too. So we would play those games. And then we also would go on a weekend trip or overnight trip down to the beach, Ocean Shores, whatever it was, we would go. And we would spend time together with our village. And then we also had people that my Aunt Verda, she's not necessarily my biological aunt, but she would expose me to like the symphony. My dad was actually a band teacher, but exposed me to the symphony. And because my dad was a high school band teacher, sometimes she would be the one that would take me to the Daffodil Parade here in Washington. That happens annually. My dad would be leading whatever high school, Fife High School at the time, because I was a young child. But I'm like 5, 6, 7 years old, and I'm remembering these things. So a village adds so much. It teaches the child, the shared values that your parent or your guardian exposes you to, and then exposes you to different experiences. Why am I talking about a village? My sister Sherry Galston was on here the other day, and she's actually my, if you want to get into the legalism of it, she's my sister-in-law's biological sister, but we've always called each other sisters, so there's no in-law. We're all family. And she spoke the other day with Josh Kent, who was our CPA program manager, about her experience as a foster child, and then her becoming a foster parent, if you will, or doing kinship care with her younger siblings. But the biggest thing that she said so much, it was so good. You could check us out. It was just posted the other day, but check us out on our page. Look at that. Look at that interview. It was so impactful, so awesome. But one of the things that she talked about was how she had a village that she still stays connected to this day. Now, Sherry is accomplished. She's an amazing person. She's educated, has her master's degree. She's one of the top math teachers in middle school in Tacoma School District. She'll probably be a principal or a superintendent one day. I'm banking on that. But she came out of the foster care system. But the only reason why she's so successful, one of the reasons why, is because she had that village that supported her, that co-signed for her, that disciplined her, that helped her who helped her along the way. And listen, you now can be a village when you become older. You have a village, now you become a village. So for me, I have a lot of children who are connected to me and my husband. They're not my biological children, but they're definitely a part of my village. I have my godchildren, for example, Alexandria and Jaden. And their mother's a single parent, and she needs support because all parents, especially single parents, need support. My daughter was 16 when I got married, so I was a single parent for 16 years. So that's why I really can empathize and sympathize with single parents. But my daughter, she had the village of my family, as well as her godparents, and she had her father, and she had the church family. And these people are still very much a part of her life now. So when we're talking about village, they may come in for a season or something like that, but a village, you're going to stay connected to that village for a long time. JMC, we have emergency placement homes, as you may or may not know. And we love when a child leaves us and then wants to come back to us, or they stay connected to us somehow. We've had children that'll call the house. They just want to see what you guys are doing. And I like that because they know that if ever they were in a tough spot at 21 years old, they can come back to JMC and say, hey, I need help. And we'll be there to support them. So these are lifelong villagers, if you will, that are helping these kids. We have a kiddo who just came back to us yesterday. About 2-3 weeks ago, he tells us that he wants to come back, and we're emergency placement, so you don't stay with us very long. And this kiddo has had some challenges. He went to another placement, and he was with us back late last year, and he wanted to come back because unfortunately we don't have parents. He doesn't have a village. His parent is working on trying to establish herself, doing her part. But in the meantime, this kiddo is being bounced around. He's a teenager. And he escalated so horribly when we heard some things about him coming back. One of the things that he would not and had not been doing is taking his medication. Well, we said, if you're going to come back to JMC, then you need to do your part. Your part is taking your medication as prescribed. Okay. And of course, following the expectations of the house. Now, he's only been back with us one night, but let me tell you, he took his medication last night and this morning. And he's already making progress. Why? Because for those 30 or 45 days that he was with us back in December or whenever it was, he saw JMC as his village. He sees us as his village, and we're honored for that. But we're emergency placement. These kiddos need a home. They need to be able to go inside the house, have their own room, or even share a room with a sister. I mean, with their brother or sister, or whomever. They need that village. So my ask every week is, and it's going to be, will you be of that child's village, their community? We need you. There was just a report that came out of King 5 yesterday. A friend of mine, Evelyn Clark, sent it to me. And it was talking about how, as punishments, unfortunately, social workers, some social workers were using, making kids stay in the office overnight and things of that nature. Now, in the social workers' defense, now I'm not agreeing with any of that, and everything could be, there's two sides to every story. If this child had a stable home, there would be no need to be in the office. There's not enough homes for these children. At the end of the day, they're not enough. They're not enough. And there are some people who are burnt out, who've been fostering for a long time, and they're burnt out. But we still need you. And those of you who've been burnt, we need you. We need trusted adults. So maybe you've been burnt, maybe you've done the foster care thing, you're just like, ugh, but you need support. We will be your village as you become a village to a child who needs a village. So we just become one big old village. We have this wonderful family who is in the process of doing the licensing right now, and they're going to take on a teenager. And let me tell you, they have such a wonderful village with themselves, just as a family, that this child is going to be blessed coming into a family that is already village minded, already kid focused, cares about the safety and health and well-being of children. What a wonderful place for that child to be. They'll always have family. They will always have family. They will always have community. They will always have village. Will you be that for that? Now, I know that sometimes there's some kids who, they don't really want you to parent them. They may be 15, 16 years old. They don't want a parent, but they still need connection and community. You can still do something. There's still something you can do to be that connection for them. Everybody needs. We were never designed to be by ourselves. We always have been designed to be connected. Why do you think COVID has been so tough for a lot of people where they've gone to anxiety and depression? Because we like to interact. We like the connection, human touch, the human presence, being amongst people. That's who we are. We're social beings, you know. Some are more social than others. But we love to connect with humans. Even the one that says that, I don't like people. You may not like people, but you got one or two people that you love to be around. Will you be a village? Will you be a village? Okay, so I just want to, I'm not going to be on here long because that's not what we want to do. So sharing a village is just about sharing your love and support. Sharing a village is just about sharing your love and support. That's all it is. You know, I'm not there every day with these kids, but I definitely interact with them. And so at some level, I'll go out to the girls' house or I'll go out to the boys' house, things like that. I was at the boys' house a little too much last week because some of those boys was cutting up. But when I went to I had to go to the hospital with one of the kiddos. He decided to run. He came back. He had found a needle, put it in his arm. He didn't know any better. So, of course, we had to take him to the hospital. Thank God. Hopefully everything is okay. He's now gone to another placement, but he was okay. And the thing that touched me at 1 o'clock in the morning, while we're both trying to wait for the doctors, he said, "Ms. Trelane, thank you for being here with me." Now he's 15, 16 years old. I didn't have to stay there with him, you know, because he's older. He could have told me to leave, but he said, "Thank you for staying with me," as he nodded off in his bed, waiting for the doctors to come back and tell him that everything is going to be all right. We are a village for children in need. Will you join us? Will you join us every week? I'm going to ask, I'm beg every week. Will you join us? Thank you very much for your time. I want to thank my staff. They're so amazing. And just thank you for this time. So ask us any questions, reach out to us, fosters@jmckids.com. If you're interested in becoming a villager for a child. If you're interested in sharing your village, which is your love and support. You can also check us out and make sure we're legit because we're still new in the CPA game, okay? jmckids.com. Check us out and see, you know, hey, I want to get with this group because I just told you, 1 o'clock in the morning, I was at the hospital with one of these kiddos to support my staff. That's nothing for me to do that. Anybody, my husband could tell, my staff, 12 midnight, whatever, 2 o'clock in the morning. If there's a crisis, to support the staff, we're going to support the staff. So we will do that with you as a foster parent. If you're having a crisis with one of your kiddos, we'll get out there as soon as possible and we'll support you, okay? All right, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day.